Batman 1989, getting into the review now
So
for
good.
dude, the Batman, the superhero movie of our childhood. If you grew up around our time, you got to remember, like, it was a weird time. Like, they brought out the toys, but it was also sort of adult, and it was
Yeah.
also dark, and it also was just like a dude. This movie, like, I know that Superman was the first one,
Yeah. And
but
Christopher Reeve, yeah.
but Batman was different. It was like, it was not all this, like, as good as Christopher Reeve Superman was, Batman was not supposed to be corny. It was not supposed to be,
Well,
it
the
had
thing
its own feel.
the thing about the Tim Burton Batman is, like, it struck a chord between the fantastical and the grounded that I think that a lot of other directors haven't been able to do. But that's just Tim Burton's unique style. There's something about Tim Burton's style that almost makes it very Alice in Wonderland with certain shots, and then super grounded in other shots. Like, he has
But
that unique
gothic as
ability.
fuck.
But yeah, it's very gothic. It's very in some instances, I think it captures the world, at least how Batman sees it, is a
Yeah.
very, like, strange kind of amalgam of different things. Like, I don't know. I feel like Tim Burton was the right
Amalgamation.
choice. It's weird, but I wanted to, before we get into the greatness, this movie is so fucking good. I mean, to me, it's a 10. It's always going to be a 10. I mean, this movie has a boner for life with me. You can put it in my butt any day of the week, and I don't even care if it's Christmas. It can still do it. But the thing about this movie is it's got a pretty crazy, and I only know this, and I'm sure you looked it up too. It's got a kind of crazy from idea to film. The main
Mhm.
thing is, in the production of this, they had several scripts that went through before they made this movie. Like eventually they settled on a 1985 release. And what they really wanted to do was they wanted to follow in the footsteps of the Christopher Reeve Superman. They wanted to make it more on that kind of lighthearted telling. By the way, I love Superman the movie. The Superman the movie is great with Gene Hackman. It's great. But they wanted to make it kind of like that. And the actual original writer was like, no, we got to make it dark. That there's a reason why, it needs to come back, because the campiness of the 70s or 60s had really kind of, and actually Batman's popularity had gone down. So it was like, yeah, everybody was like, yeah, Batman's kind of a joke, but we'll make it, so we'll keep in that line. The interesting thing is, and I felt like this was like the most interesting, is that at one point during the production of the film and who they were going to get to direct it, other than Ivan Reitman, he popped up. They were going to get Ivan Reitman. He wanted to cast Bill Murray as Batman, Eddie Murphy as Robin, which would have been fucking terrible,
Mhm.
god awful. Because again, he was going with the campy version of it. But they actually did, strangely, they considered Wes Craven for
Could you
the
imagine?
movie. Because he did Swamp Thing, and
Yeah.
they were like, oh, Swamp Thing was great, so Wes Craven, dude, can you imagine a world, because I mean there's multiverse motherfuckers, so who knows, in that one world Wes Craven directed Batman. I don't know if
Yeah.
I should have a boner or be scared or both.
It's
uh
crazy, man.
but what I think it was more interesting is that Willem Dafoe, well, we both thought, and I think everybody else here thought, that he tried out for Joker. It was actually Batman that he wanted to be, not Joker. That's according to the sources, that it was falsely reported that he tried out for Joker.
Yeah.
The other thing was, dude, the craziest possible casting. I mean, and by the way, everybody remembers, the Ben Affleck. Everybody hated him, dude. When they cast Michael Keaton, 50,000 fucking signatures were sent to Warner Brothers and said, "Fuck that guy.
And
He's a Mr. Mom. He vacuums, and he's a man."
this is pre-internet. Like, they
Yeah,
had to, like, get this chain letter shit sent to Warner
yeah,
Brothers.
50,000 goddamn signatures of people that have never seen a vagina in their life sent a letter to Warner Brothers
Yeah.
demanding Michael Keaton be removed.
It's
So,
crazy.
but they had I guess they were thinking like Michael, they were thinking Mr. Mom, they were thinking Beetlejuice. By the way, Beetlejuice was the movie that actually got Tim Burton the job, because they greenlit the movie after Beetlejuice was a success. But
Yeah.
now here's the really juicy nutsack. What I thought was, because you think about Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton, I think, was great. I think he played the duality of the role really well. I do enjoy him as Bruce Wayne, and I did think he was awesome as Batman. But then you look at the people that auditioned for it and that could have been Batman: Kevin
Mhm.
Costner, Mel Gibson, Charlie Sheen, Tom Selleck, Harrison Ford.
Some
Dennis
wild shit in
Quaid.
there.
First off, I was thinking the only one that even stood remotely interesting to me, Harrison Ford. Fuck no. They're not that he's not a great actor, but dude, Indiana Jones, Han Solo,
The
and now
darkness
he's
isn't
fucking
there.
Gotham City's protector.
He's not gothic dark enough. Like,
Yeah, I was
I
like,
just
first
don't.
off,
Yeah.
Harrison, you've got enough roles. Stop. I would have taken. I think that I really do think I'm thinking about that. I think that not Charlie Sheen. I think that Dennis Quaid could have pulled it off.
Quaid could have pulled it off. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And then what I think also is pretty funny is that and I would never say, but dude, just because of his performance in Labyrinth, they also considered David Bowie as Joker. You remember how he was
he
as
probably could have pulled it off. Yeah.
I think so. I
He
think
probably could have
he was
pulled it off.
I
I'm a
think he
physical
looked
matter.
more I think David Bowie looks more Jokerish, at least more accurate in the comic books than Jack Nicholson. And I love Jack Nicholson. Jack Nicholson was a master in this role, but David Bowie as we all remember him as Goblin King in the Labyrinth, this tall, weird, kind of quirky character. I think he could have brought that to that role and been like pretty damn fucking accurate, pretty good, pretty scary. And the other ones that were on there that was of mention is John Lithgow and James Woods as Joker. The thing about John Lithgow, though, John Lithgow turned it down. Like, he actually said, well, he came out later and said that he begged them not to cast him because he didn't think he'd be a good Joker. And then he said that's his number one regret in life. I'm glad that John Lithgow didn't get it because I feel like he's too much of a kindly face to really portray an evil character. James Woods would have been interesting, but I swear to God, out of the list that could have, Robin Williams included, because Robin Williams jockeyed hard for Joker.
He would have been
I think
Joker.
David Bowie would have been the number one pick.
I would have probably gone Robin, but I totally don't disagree that Bowie would have been a pick. The thing about Joker, dude, is it's a character that has more room to grow and to do wild shit with than almost anything. Yeah. Like, if you think about, and that's my main thing with this movie too. So what we got was Jack Nicholson, right? And Jack Nicholson is an all-time great fucking actor, right? Like, Jack Nicholson as anyone at that time in his career would have been amazing. Like, almost.
And we also know that they were basing that pick on the fact that he was a huge name and his success in The Shining,
right?
And One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Right. But there's almost nothing about Jack Nicholson that screams Joker to you. Unless you went back, I think a few years before.
Jack in The Shining.
Yeah, Jack in The Shining. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, like you said, unless you went back a few years before. Now, I don't think Nicholson ever nailed the comic book Joker.
No, he never.
But he's so good as an actor that it didn't really matter that it didn't feel like the comic book Joker. And I think that's just a testament to how great Nicholson is as a character. But there's one scene in this movie, dude, where it's maybe the coolest looking Joker of anything. And that's when he's talking to Jack Palance. And he just found out that he got double crossed, and he shows up at his office and he's like,
that was great. Oh, he was in shadow.
Yeah, it's like, hello, Sugar Bumps. He's like, it's me, Sugar Bumps, or whatever. When he's in that darkness there, and you just see the lips just like brighten up just a little bit, like the and he's a little bit in shadow, dude. That one particular scene, though Jack Nicholson is not very Jokerish as his own on his own, that one scene is probably the coolest Joker has ever looked on screen in the history of fucking Batman. Dude.
Well, I liked how they kept him. I liked how when he walked off the elevator and they kept him in shadow. And then he was talking, and no one had seen his face yet, so you didn't know what the Joker was going to look like at this point. I mean, you saw him got out from the surgery, and that laugh is iconic. He did a great job with that laugh.
Yeah, he did.
But it also sounds like an old man that just won a big pot at the casino. But but it was still good. It was iconic. But when he comes in and they keep him in the dark, and then when the old guy, which by the way, the old guy that's in this movie is also the bad guy in Tango and Cash. He's a great fucking actor.
Jack Palance.
He's awesome. Jack Palance, yeah. And he's like, let me pour you a drink. And he was like, don't bother. He's like, your life won't be worth spit.
He's so good, dude.
There was something about when Jack Nicholson is like, you set me up over a woman. Oh, woman! A woman! It was one of those things. Yeah, it was very Al Pacino-ish. I liked that there was this barely contained, which a lot of people don't understand about Joker, this barely contained rage that's psychotic, like I'm gonna fucking stab you in the throat rage that was right at the surface that he was doing very well. And he was like, Jack, and he's like, Jack is dead, my friend. And then one of the best reveals of all time in all cinema, Jack is dead, my friend. You can call me the Joker. When he comes into the light and he takes his, and as you can see, I'm a lot happier, dude. Huh?
Yeah.
It was so fucking good, dude. That was so, like, it gives you chill bumps all the way up down your crack because you're like, I cannot believe an actor of this caliber did this role because it was so perfect for him.
And that's what I'm saying. Like he doesn't fit the mold of Joker very well. Like it just doesn't. The size, the look, the shape, all that. But he's such a good actor, he transcended that. Yeah. But like, and there's those scenes too, dude. Like when Jack Palance is talking to him, it's like, because you, I'm a number one, and guy.
Yeah, guy. I always thought he said, and I always thought he was like trying to say, and you are my number one, and I. Like, I'm also the number one.
But like, yeah, and then like, and even before he became Joker, he was really creepy and fucked up and funny. Like when she's like, you look fine. He's like, I didn't ask.
Dude, I still use that line today. Like when April she's like, you look good. I was like, I didn't ask.
Yeah, dude, it's, so
it's such an iconic look. You know, the thing what Jack Nicholson did was he breathed life into a character that really, I mean, I know that the Joker had been portrayed before on screen. Obviously, he did, you know, a master of the trade was in the Adam West early days. Cesar
Romero, I think.
No, not Cesar.
No, Raul.
Maybe Raul. I can't remember. But literally, what's funny about that, he didn't want to shave his mustache, so you can actually see his mustache underneath the makeup. But he did a phenomenal job. He actually did look the comic book accurate part. So, but Jack Nicholson was the first one to really absorb it and bring a levity to it and a gravitas to it that had not been done before. And it was really, and it was memorable and it's iconic. And that Joker is always going to be iconic. And I think that anybody that comes after Jack Nicholson will always look to Jack Nicholson as and he is
Cesar Romero.
Cesar Romero, yes. Obviously, Cesar Romero is the grandfather, but Jack Nicholson is the fucking conquering hero that every other actor that comes after Nicholson will always look to Nicholson as like the guide of what a Joker should be. Because, you know, he balanced it really well. He's weird and he's strange and he's funny, but you also know he's a vicious fucking killer and he will kill you at any moment's notice just for his own pleasure.
And he made it his own too. Like, and I gotta think, dude, like it's weird watching this movie now because like they put that it's almost terrible, but it's almost makes sense.
The practical effects I liked it.
But that, like, yeah, but I like it overall, but like, and especially for the time, anything you say about this movie comes with a caveat of, I think this movie gets double credit, which for you it's a 10. For me, it's a 9.5. Like, and I used to say it was
Blasphemy,
a 10. I think
I'm speaking my temple.
I think I'm getting the stingier in my old age, but anything you say or watch about this movie today, you have to give it extra credit because nobody did it. Like, I know Superman existed, but apart from that, nobody fucking did this. This was brand new. This kind of superhero movie was brand new. They didn't have Marvel. They didn't have DC. They weren't trying to copy anything. It was
their own thing.
They were on a world of their own. And there's so many aspects of it, even not having anything to base it off of, that they fucking nailed it.
And also it was a hard movie. Dude, there was a stigma around Batman when they made it because everybody else was thinking of Adam West.
Yep.
That's all they were thinking of. When Superman came out, because they were like, oh, well, that's all they wanted. They wanted the Christopher Reeve lighthearted approach to the character.
Yeah.
And they thought that would sell. And this was like, I got balls, bitch, and I'm going to go out on the plank and I ain't going to fall. I'm going to tell you, I walked out on that plank. I'm going to bounce back up.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like, but I liked it because it had balls. I mean, it was the first type of its movie to be like, this is a dark ass superhero. The characters that were created in the 40s, it was supposed to be a dark character. So let's go with that. Yeah, I mean, they pulled it off.
It's as original of a comic book movie as there is in the history of the world. Like, I know it's based on an IP, and I know it's based on comic books and a TV show and all that came before, but this is as original gets because they created something.
Soundtracks ever.
They brought something to life that had never, ever been brought to life in this way before. So they deserve all the credit for that. And it changed superhero movies for the history of everything. But
I think what happened is I think we got spoiled a little bit because what happened is, when we grew up and Jack Nicholson was Joker, like he was just Joker, like that's always going to be the Joker of our time. And then you started seeing different interpretations of him. Heath Ledger obviously did a masterful portrayal of him in a different way that we'd never seen before.
Hey guys, this is Mark Wahlberg here, and I just want to tell you about We Watch the Movies Patreon again. They got over 60 full movie commentaries over there, Nicole, plus a new one every month. Almost 100 extra movie reviews, behind the scenes, bloopers, and outtakes videos. They'll send you a signed picture and a Wham Video membership card. You get 20% off all their merch. You get a personalized video messages from whatever character you want about whatever topic you choose. Once a month, all the top tier members get together and hang out, live, on the internet. I'll put the link below. Click it, Nicole. Let me in your fucking house.
So I feel like what Jack Nicholson was for us, Jack Nicholson was goddamn Def Leppard. And then when Heath Ledger came out, he was Nirvana. And then he kind of shook up the whole image scene. But I still think, you know what? I can't, because I've heard this before. Like, who you think is the best Joker? Joaquin Phoenix, Heath Ledger, or Jack Nicholson? They're also different, and they're also like unique in their own way. I couldn't. I think they're perfect in their own way. So they're already 10. So it's hard for me to say which one's better than the other.
I think actually watching this again, I actually have my answer on that, and I've always struggled with it too. For me, the best Joker has got to be between Ledger and Phoenix, but because this is so different, like. But I think that's almost more of a credit to Jack Nicholson than it is a discredit, because Jack Nicholson just played a character. Like, he was his own version of the Joker, his own character. And I think that that's special in its own right. I think who's the best Joker when it comes down to like the comic
I just feel
books?
like they were so different, though. They didn't follow each other at all, really.
Right. No, and they didn't. And that's why Joker's just such a cool role. And Jared Leto is really the only one to date to fuck it up.
Yeah, he can suck some more crap dick from 7-Eleven.
But no, Jack Nicholson, though he's not my favorite Joker of all time, I just think that he is a fucking movie star and he's an amazing actor, and he took a role that nobody ever did before, sans the TV series, which is a completely different portrayal of it.
Well, some people do like that guy.
He was amazing in it, but
so but I think we need. But you know what? We're giving Nicholson. By the way, and again, these are all like facts you can look up yourselves. These facts that we're talking about. Nicholson did want top billing. He wanted a part of the merchandise. He wanted to, have his own shooting schedule. He's Jack fucking Nicholson.
He was taking a big risk too.
Yeah, but he's also Jack fucking Nicholson, so he can get what he wants. If he wants his own, shooting schedule, I would say as a director like Tim Burton did, he's like, okay, and would he like a hand job as well? Yeah. Because you're gonna give that. I think Nicholson took a role on a piece of paper that it only existed really in the 1960s show and in comic books before that, and it was all very it's a cartoony type of villain. He took that off the page and he made something very fucking unique. He did grandfather in, to me anyway. I really do think he grandfathered in the modern day persona of what we get on film with Joker. I mean, without him, everybody would be chasing down and trying to do Cesar Romero. And there's nothing wrong with his portrayal. I mean, obviously that show is meant to be goofy, but that's not what Joker is.
It's the whole movie, like not just Nicholson, but the entire movie, dude. It was a pioneer. It was a true pioneer effort. But like even going in, so like moving on to Keaton a little bit here. Keaton as Batman is like so weird because like you watch it, and I don't think he's the best Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, he must be king of the Wicker people.
I think that I'm ready to say one thing for sure, watching this again now, is that Keaton as Batman in that suit, that leather fucking suit that they made, that looks just so fucking cool.
I loved it.
Keaton as Batman in that suit in this movie, I think is the coolest. Yeah, I think it's the coolest Batman to date. Like I love Batflick. Yeah. Like I love Batflick, dude. And I think Batflick in action where he can actually move. Keaton was held back by the suit because he could only do like high kicks. Like quick punches.
He could only move his head in a certain way. That became the Keaton turn, which is awesome though. It's very dramatic.
I think those little moments that we got a Batfleck, like in the warehouse where he's just beating the fuck out of people, is probably the coolest moments of like live action fighting Batman. But I think Keaton in that suit in this movie is the coolest fucking rendition of Batman to date on screen.
I agree. I think that Michael Keaton as Batman And I did enjoy him as Bruce Wayne as well, not as strongly. Um, I think that he wasn't a very strong, convincing Bruce Wayne, but I feel like he showed enough of like kind of a unawares type of Bruce Wayne.
Mhm.
You know, the fact that he forgot his name when Vicky Vale approached him at the party, and you know the weird interactions that he had with Knox and Vicky Vale in the viewing of the statues
'Cause
room
I
or
bought
whatever.
it.
I
Yeah.
feel like because I bought it in Japan.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I feel like that was convincing, but as Batman himself, and I think he did. To me, it's always going to be Michael Keaton, and the reason is Ben Affleck may be a better on-screen Batman. It very may well be him. But for me, nostalgic, what I grew up with, what I see as Batman, when I see Batman in my head, I think of the Danny Elfman theme, and I see that yellow and black fucking symbol.
Hand to
That's
God.
goddamn Batman, motherfucker.
Me too.
But it's the same thing as it's the same thing as Pierce Bronson. Pierce Bronson and James Bond. Daniel Craig may be the best James Bond to ever exist, period. But we grew up with Pierce Bronson as our James Bond. So
yeah, but it's not just that. Like, it's not only just that we grew up with him. I actually am ready to say that Keaton is the best Batman to me, because it's not like he's not the best Bruce Wayne. I agree
I
with
think
you
he
on
is,
that.
but yeah.
Oh, the best Bruce Wayne.
No,
Like,
I mean,
he's
I
not
think he's the best
Bruce
Batman,
Wayne.
but yeah.
He doesn't really fit as Bruce Wayne. He's almost tinier, and he's almost a little more goofy than he would expect Bruce Wayne
he
to
looks
be.
like that. He looks like he's playing the role that he did in what was it, sober and whatever, that the movie that they ultimately hired him on, Sober and Waiting.
Sober. I think it's just Sober is the name of the movie.
Yeah,
But
I was
like,
like,
or
yeah,
Clean and Sober.
he kind of looks like he's just drunk all the time, and he's like, I really don't want to be here.
Yeah, like, I don't think he's the best Bruce Wayne, because he just doesn't look Bruce. He's got like that hair, like whatever. He doesn't look like Bruce Wayne. But the scenes that you see of him being Batman, like specifically when he picks up the Joker, and the first time Jack Nicholson's character sees him, he's like, Jesus,
that was great.
But, dude, the way that Batman looks at him,
that reminded me when he said
fuck.
Jesus, when Nicholson said Jesus, it reminded me of my big dad when he saw how much gas goes up. He's like, Jesus.
But just the way that Keaton, when he had that black eye makeup all over his eyes, but and specifically when he would hit somebody, when he'd be like, he would have that Keaton face underneath the bat, like at the end when like Vicky Vale acts like she's gonna go down on Joker, and then Joker turns around, is like, let me ask you something. You ever dance with the devil, the Pamela? And then he makes that Keaton face, was like, ugh. And then he punches him. Oh, dude, that's Batman. That's fucking Batman to me.
I loved it. Well, also I love the part where he took Vicky Vale back to the Batcave, and they're like, yeah, a lot of people think that you're like him too, Joker. And then he's like, he's psychotic. It's like, some people say the same thing about you. And he's like, what people? I was like, dude, that is fucking so dead on Batman. It's like he is so obsessed with what he's doing. He never once thought or stopped to think about what the public persona or what the public mindset would be about him. And he's like, I'm just trying to help people, so I don't have time to deal with their foolishness. And he's like, what people? Like, and he's also kind of saying like what Batman would, like what people that matter. Like, obviously the media is always going to run away and try to paint whatever negative story they can, but I've been helping Gotham citizens for a long time. Dude, Michael Keaton, I think Michael Keaton did, I think, honest to God, I think he did the best with the duality as one could think, because he really is different when he plays Bruce Wayne. It is very different than when he plays Batman.
Yeah, he naturally, he's a dark, he seems like a dark dude. And also, dude, I think that this Batman,
no, he's white. So
I think this Batman has the best. He has the best appearances, like the best, like show up on screen appearances. Now, Bale had some great ones in The Dark Knight where he'd show up, but like the way that this Batman shows up in the smoke, or like and it like pops out of the smoke, or like floats down, or when he pops out in the library scene when he pops through the glass. This Batman in that suit, I think the suit helped a lot. That's my favorite bat suit of all time.
I would say yes, but I think that they actually. I think in Batman Returns they did a better job with the suit, but they kept the same aesthetic
between the two. Yeah, but they're almost the same suit.
Well, no, because in the second suit, the whole ab thing on his stomach is gone.
But Keaton in general has the best suit.
The same, dude. I really do love Michael Keaton as Batman. I mean, to me, he's always going to be the best Batman too. I'm always going to pick him. my brother Cody actually sent us a group message and was showing that a poll, I guess, happened on Reddit, and they were ranking the Batman, or they were like, "What's your favorite Batman?"
Mhm.
And Ben Affleck won by like 3% over Christian
That's
Bale.
shocking.
Yeah, and yeah, I was fucking like, Christian Bale, dude. What the
Not
fuck
Christian
fucking
Bale.
snorting coke did you do today?
That's
And
a
Michael
whole nother
Keaton was
video. But
low. He was low. I'm like,
that's look.
I feel like, yeah, I feel like these motherfuckers are like new gen people that liked Batman. They never really went back and watched the Michael Keaton Batman.
Well,
And if they
I think
did,
they're
they're like,
basing
this is
it.
so old.
No, I think they're basing it on the movies, dude. I think that when people do that, like regulars, like randos or whatever, they base it on the movies. So, like,
Yeah,
if you look at
maybe.
like, hey, what's the best Batman? And they think, oh my God, it's the Christopher Nolan Batman series. So definitely it's Christian Bale. But when you look at the Batman performances on their own as a whole, I think it's hard to say. And let's save that for another video because I feel like a Batman ranking video would
That'd
be,
be fun.
especially
Yeah.
after Pattinson's
Yeah.
Batman comes out. But like,
Well, you
just
know what,
talk.
Mike? I think you're a vicious bastard, and I'm glad
Why?
you're dead. You're a vicious bastard, and I'm glad you're dead. Dude, I always thought that was funny. Also,
Where
I
you
was
been
like,
spending
"Come
your
on, you
nights?"
gruesome son of a bitch! Come on!" And then he pulls out the biggest, longest cock gun I've ever seen. And he shoots
Oh,
it.
I know.
By the way, Batman's a terrible shot. It reminded me of Dumb and Dumber. He's like, "Harry, you're alive, and you're a terrible shot." This mother, like, Batman had 4 missiles and 2 Gatling guns and missed every fucking shot
Yeah.
at Joker.
Well,
By the way, I love how people always blame Zack Snyder that he made Batman a killer and Superman. Literally, in this movie, they were trying to kill Joker. He did kill Joker, and in Batman Returns, he set a motherfucker on fire. So let's get off that horse.
not just that, dude. He drives into a warehouse. By the way, that scene is unheraldly badass. Right before the penultimate scene, Batman tries to cut off the whole parade situation.
Yeah.
He drives the Batmobile. By the way, this is between this and Returns
No,
best Batmobile.
No, he didn't drive it, man. That was remote controlled.
No, he was in there at first. Like he
No,
drove it in, and then he
never
put
in
the
there.
shields on.
He was
Well,
never
either
in
way,
there.
either way. I don't want to get hung up on specifics here. But the car goes into that facility and he drops the bomb. Okay. All these bad guys are around, and then you just see the explosion go off and the Batmobile drive off. He killed motherfuckers in there. He blew them up.
Yeah. I
Like,
don't
come
think
on.
you blew up a chemical factory. I don't think people are gonna walk away with a scrape on their knee.
Don't tell me Batman doesn't
You
kill.
literally just fucking you dropped the bomb at that one poor schmuck's foot, and he's like, "Huh?" And then it blew up.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude. Look, I gotta be honest. Like the whole fucking movie, dude. Like top to bottom is perfectly cast. Even Jack, not Jack. Bob. Like even though you don't even know his
His little
fucking last
cut.
name.
Yeah.
Bob. I think I liked it, and they even sold a toy of him because he was like memorable in the movie.
Yeah.
I feel
Kim
like
Basinger
Tim
was a
Burton.
great Vicky Vale.
Yeah, Kim Basinger was great. Knox
Alfred
was
fucking great.
Alfred was awesome. He's not my favorite, but he was really good. I think but there's a certain aesthetic that works for the first movie anyway. And it blends in, like I said, the fantasy, strange, out there type Tim Burton imagination, but it also brings in the realism and the groundedness. And you're like, I like it's like a weird. Well, you guys have seen Labyrinth. It's kind of like I'm not saying it's that weird, but it's kind of on that level of like strange and like this makes me feel funny, but I like it. And it's fucking Batman, so I love it.
Yeah. I think what happened, dude, is that we got lucky enough. And a lot of times fans were so like pissed, like, oh man, I wish so and so would do this, or I wish we could have gotten this. I think we forget to appreciate what we have. And what we have here, we're so fucking lucky that what we got Tim Burton. And not today's everything's Johnny Depp CG.
No, it was OG Tim Burton.
Right. We got prime, like fucking prime at the height of his
motherfucker had a big dick.
Yeah, we got prime Tim Burton when he was prime movie making material, making a Batman film when superhero movies barely existed, and we got Michael Keaton in his prime to play Batman. We got Jack Nicholson around his prime to be the villain, and like all that coagulated into this movie that was this original little weirdness. Like, and think about this, dude. Like,
but you know what? It works perfectly for Batman because a Batman would be weird. He'd be strange. He'd be a strange cat.
It was Yeah, it's a perfect storm. But that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Like when you look at movies today, and I think we all feel this way. We're tired of IP. We're tired of everything's got to be superhero, got to be this and that.
Yeah,
We lived in a
clean.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we lived in a time where we got a superhero movie that also just happened to be, by the way, a fucking completely original movie.
Yeah,
So
it
like
really was.
that tied in with like, and then we're not even touching so much like the fact that the Joker crime spree that he went through with the
The
when he's doing,
the hairspray and the deodorant, that was fucking
Yeah.
scary because that could happen.
exactly. And people want to say that, oh, we've never seen a detective Batman on screen. Bitch, it was in 89. He had
Yeah,
to
he did.
figure out that, oh, you mix the hairspray with the lipstick, and that's what's
Yeah,
killing
it happens in
people.
combinations. Batman had a giant computer. Batman was so smart back then, he was connected to AOL. And no one else understood what the internet was. And he already had it. By the way, I gotta say also, throw out some love to Billy D. Williams as Harvey Dent.
Yes.
So good. So good.
I
And
would
by the
love
way,
to see him.
I also want to
his
point this
Two-Face.
out. I want to point this out. Came out in 1989. No one gave a fig Newton that he was black. And he was playing.
Oh, today it'd be woke.
No,
It's
yeah,
too
but
woke.
well, you know, it's not woke at all. It was like, hey, they picked the character that, or they picked an actor that was good for the part. Billy D.
Right.
Williams was fucking awesome. He was really good. He was a smooth talking type of dude that could play that. And I think I read somewhere that as far as I think they asked about why Billy D. Williams didn't come back as Two-Face, because that was the obvious route. Billy D. Williams mentioned, I'm sure it's on the internets. So, but I think he had said that I think there was going to be a cameo by him in the second movie, and then but he'd only signed up contractually for the first movie, so there was never any type of stipulation that he was going to come back for more movies. But then before Tim Burton was released, that there was talks of making him be the main villain in Tim Burton's Batman 3, and they were going to use the Batman 89 as a springboard, build up the Billy D. Williams, Harvey Dent character, and then go from there. But
if they could have figured it out, dude, to bring back Burton and Keaton and everybody and kept that storyline going,
I would, you know what, and you know, in today's world with everything that's crazy now, I mean, who knows? I would love to see Tim Burton finish his trilogy. If he had a trilogy in mind for his Michael Keaton Batman, I would pay top fucking dollar to see his conclusion.
Now Burton gets a little bit too Burton-y with Batman Returns, but we'll talk about that in the next stream when we review Batman Returns.
Pee Wee Herman as
he got
mom or dad.
Too much. One thing I do want to mention though, before we finish this review off, is though Keaton is not my favorite Bruce Wayne, not by any fault of his, just by natural, just the way he is, and the way you see Bruce Wayne. Is the scene specifically, dude, in Vicky Vale's apartment when Joker shows up and he's there. Nuts. That scene is so cool, dude, because like he's the perfect Bruce Wayne in that scene because he shows up and like Joker's there with all of his henchmen, and he doesn't even know who Bruce Wayne is. He doesn't know Keaton is Bruce Wayne because this is before the internet and shit. And Bruce Wayne just walks in there and he's like, "Yeah, I'm that guy. I'm that guy." And he's like, never rub another man's rhubarb. Or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that was so good. But when Keaton walks in there, dude, he's such a badass in that scene. He's like, I knew this guy. He's like, couldn't see a train coming 2 feet in front of his face.
Exactly. And he's like, I like him already.
Yeah. And then when he grabs that poker and he's like, you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. That was one of the most ballsy Bruce Wayne sequences ever seen on screen. And well, I loved it.
I liked Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne though. I think he was disarming, and I don't think like again, I think the more poignant scene that he did portray Bruce Wayne like in a way that people would never think that could be Batman is when Vicky Vale meets him at the party that he's throwing. And then she asks, do you know Bruce Wayne? He's like, yeah. And he's all like geeky and he doesn't know. And then when he's walking behind them, observing all of his statues and shit, and then he speaks up and he's like, oh yeah, by the way, give Knox a grant.
What do you think? 6?
6. And then Doc's like, yes, 6 is good.
Yeah.
But dude, I mean, I think Michael Keaton is, he's always going to be my Batman. Faux show.
Yeah.
Like
no
when I
doubt
hear
about
R.
it, dude.
Kelly singing about Gotham City, fuck George Clooney.
Gotham City,
I'm thinking about a city of justice. I'm thinking
city
about
of
Michael
peace.
Keaton coming back. But then again, you know who is also, and this movie is forthcoming for sure. And I did see somebody had mentioned it before. Val Kilmer was an incredible Batman.
Oh yeah, and we'll get to that. Obviously, we'll
Was
get
an
to that.
incredible Batman.
Yeah, I think he did a great job for
Yeah,
sure.
but yeah,
But
either way, I love Michael Keaton, man. I still think that Michael Keaton is number one in my hearts and farts.
mhm,
But you all might be surprised about if we rank these because it's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be the standard
lots of rankings
because I
coming.
could see,
Yeah,
Val Kilmer could sneak up there and give a good old punch to the cock hole, and you'd be like, huh? But
yeah.
yeah, he snuck up and hit you in the taint. But I will say also, gotta throw this in. Not only was the movie acted well, top to bottom, everybody did a great job. Danny Elfman, the fucking music, dude,
Original as
forever,
fuck.
forever
Yeah.
iconic.
And again, you're talking about an era that all we knew about Batman music was dun 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 Batman, and he brings this entirely new thing, and just
Dude, I
when the
almost got
intro's going through that logo. Oh my god,
dude, I do it the same fucking way. The same way. Dude, I turned it on. April was opening up the pizza box and showcasing the bat
Good times.
signal thing,
Yeah,
and then that music came on. I was like, shh,
fucking
pay
great times,
respect.
dude. Yeah,
I was like, pay respect. Because when you hear that music, you have to pay respect.
it's
It's like hearing a Catholic bell.
dude.
You gotta get on one knee and be like, respect.
It's the suck zone back to
It really is.
1989.
And dude, it's not only that. Like I remember as a kid, I didn't get teary-eyed, but as an adult or as a teen going into an adult, that very fucking last sequence, dude, was like "Ba-na-na," and then it's going up the tower, and he's standing there, and you see it's like "Dum," and you hear the cowbell thing. I'm like, I fucking cry. I was like, that's Batman. That's the real Batman. Because like he's standing on the top of the skyscraper and he's looking at the new bat symbol, and then that music it swells up to the last.
The entire thing, man, like from him appearing in the smoke, that suit is just goddamn, that suit's perfect, dude. And he's so cool in it, the way he just pops up and like high kicks someone in the face or punches somebody. And then that ending scene, like the reason I give it a 9.5, by the way, and not a 10 in my older age is because there are some problems with it. Like, you can see
you're old.
I know. Yeah, I'm a little bit cynical, but you can see strings. There's some scenes that are off a little bit. The pacing gets a little bit fucking off. But dude, oh my god! And the Prince soundtrack, by the way, black and white,
red and green. The funkiest thing you ever seen. I love that part when he walks into the museum and he's like, Lawrence, and then he hits the fucking jukebox.
And then the museum scene where that green paint just splashing on those paintings. That whole thing, like, goddamn,
hell, the new king in town. Yeah,
yeah, dude, just like everything from the color of the face masks. There's just so much beauty. Like we could talk about this movie for 10 hours and not really get to the bottom of it.
But I think what we could close it with, or we could understand, I think that everybody could agree. Well, maybe not everybody, but at least in this particular instance, that, or a few of you guys, Tim Burton understood Batman. Like I figure that he approached the project as like Batman is a larger than life figure. He comes from a very strange world with these strange villains. Like it's not just Joker. It's the Scarecrows, and it's the Mr. Freezes, and it's the Two-Faces. It's very strange world. So obviously the how we have to film this is a very Alice in Wonderland type of adventure that, at least for the viewers, will look at it and be like, that's weird. It's kind of weird, but
dude, his Gotham was
well, you never figure out the time.
Never recreated.
People like, what year does Gotham take place? And you don't know, because there's different car models, and then it's different, the whole thing. I love it. I love the weirdness to it. Now, again, I know you mentioned it before, Batman Returns, it goes a little bit off rails, and you're like,
he's a little too Burton-y.
You're like,
but hey, and again, like just one thing I want to finish my thought on is like the reason I give it a 9.5 out of a 10 watching it today is there is little things like I think the pacing is a little fucked up towards the end. Like when we get to the movie's just on a fucking crash course for awesome, right? And then he's like the old Dukaroo, me and him, and then he the awesomeness of what Joker's doing to the whole city and all that. And then you've got this whole scene where he's like, I'm going to drop $20 million or whatever it was on the town. And then and then Batman's flying in it. You're like, oh my God, the Batcopter. Are you shitting me? What the, not bat, but the Bat plane. You're like, this is too fucking cool for school. But then when it lands and they go inside like the castle or whatever, like the church, I felt like they killed the pacing a little bit. Like I felt like they stopped and did way too much extra shit and didn't really like hit the fucking gauntlet. That fight lasted a little bit too long. The whole thing, I think they sucked their own sales out of their own wins. That's probably not the right way to say that.
Yeah. I hate when I do that.
A couple tiny pacing issues, right? With it. And just a couple tiny little defects here. But dude, like no problem with it being a 10 for anybody, but it's a 9.5 for me. I
love I love the fact that when they, I'll admit that it's strange that all of a sudden it becomes like a Van Helsing, Bram Stoker kind of tale. They go to a gothic looking church, and that's going to be the final confrontation between the monster and Batman. But then again, I mean, we're like Beauty and the Beast in our opinions, but if anyone else called you Beast, I'd tear their lungs out from them.
Well, it'd be like watching someone paint the Mona Lisa and complaining about this brush stroke or that stroke.
I feel like it all just made sense at the end. I don't know. I feel like what they were trying to do like a very comic book ending, and it did feel like a very Frank Miller type of ending. And actually, that's what the writer wanted to go for. He was trying to go for the Frank Miller Dark Knight Returns type of scenario, and
I think that's it. I think the final fight could have been a little cooler. That's all. I just think it could have been done better, just a little bit. But that's it.
But yeah, at the end of the day, man, Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson they're phenomenal. I mean, they played off each other really well. They worked together in the scene. The chemistry was on point. The chemistry between all the cast members were on point. Like I felt like it was a very organic, naturally evolving movie that works. Yeah. And that's not, you can't say that for every big budget movie. And this was a big budget movie for its time. I mean, it swelled to $40 million in 1989. It made $400 million, which is a lot of money in 89. But yeah, dude, I feel like this movie overall, dude, I feel like this is one of those few movies for me anyway, that I can watch any day of the week and be just as entertained as the first time I ever watched it.
Yeah. I think it's one of those rare movies, dude, that it's a classic and yet it's also somehow underrated.